Welcome students. In today's lesson, we will explore another essential part of the Bangla language, possessive pronouns and how they agree with the auxiliary verbs in both singular and plural forms. Through the real-life conversation, we will see how these pronouns work and how they change based on who we are referring to. In this conversation, two friends meet after a long time and both are male. Amit says, "Are Neil, tumi kemon acho?" "Hey Neil, how are you?" Neil says, "Namaskar dada." "Hey, I'm bhalo achi." "Namaskar brother." "Yes, I'm good." In this section of conversation, Amit and Neil exchange greetings and check on each other's well-being. This interaction introduces us to the informal yet polite use of nominative pronouns and auxiliary verbs in Bangla. Amit starts with "Are Neil, tumi kemon acho?" The word "are" is an informal interjection used to express familiarity and surprise. The pronoun "tumi," as we know, is the second person singular pronoun used in semi-formal or polite informal speech. The question word "kemon," as we know by now, is an interrogative adjective meaning how. Acho, as we saw in the previous lesson, is the verb form for the second person singular subject. It is used to indicate a state or condition. Neil replies, "Namaskar dada." "Heh, ami bhalo achi." Namaskar, as we have already encountered this formal or respectful greeting. Dada is a kinship term in Bangla. It means elder brother. It is also used to show respect. In Bengali culture, kinship terms are commonly used to address people, even outside of family relations, as a sign of warmth and familiarity. Dada is used as a term of endearment for someone who is older than you. Hai means yes, confirming Amit's question. Ami, as we know by now, is the first person singular pronoun meaning I. The word bhalo is an adjective meaning good or well, describing the Neil's condition. Achi is the verb form for first person singular subject I in this context. Please observe the address forms. Neil calls Amit Dada, means elder brother, which implicitly shows a relationship. Again, let's observe the agreement of auxiliary verbs with subjects. The verb acho agrees with the second person singular pronoun, which is informal, tumi. On the other hand, achi is used for first person singular ami. These forms indicate a state or condition in the present tense. Another thing to note there is the agreement with auxiliary verbs. The adjective bhalo always does not require an auxiliary verb in this simple or casual response. However, in a more elaborative or formal context, we could see sentences like "Ami bhalo achi," which means I am good. Next, we will see another conversation where Amit says, "Tomar baba ma kemon achen?" How are your parents? Neil says, "Tara bhalo achen." They are good. In this part of conversation, Amit asks Neil about his parents' well-being and Neil responds politely. Here, Amit asks, "Tomar baba ma kemon achen?" Here, tomar means your, is a possessive pronoun in semi-formal way. It corresponds to the second person pronoun tumi. It is used when speaking to friends, younger people or equals in polite way. Baba ma means father and mother. In English, there are single word that is parents for denoting father and mother. But in Bangla, it is called baba ma separately. We encountered one question word as well, that is kemon, which means how. The honorific verb form achen is used in the conversation because parents are generally addressed respectfully. If Amit asked the similar things about friends, he would use "Ora kemon ache?" instead. Here, the verb ache is used with informal subjects. Neil answered, "Tara bhalo achen." Here, the word tara is honorific plural pronoun meaning they. Adjective bhalo means good or well. Verb achen, as we saw here, agrees with the honorific subject tara, showing respect. Another conversation we'll see. Amit says, Bah, ar tomar bon kemon ache? Nice. And how's your sister? Neil says, Sheo bhalo ache. Tomar stri kemon achen? Neil says, She is good too. How is your wife? In this part of conversation, Amit and Neil are continuing their discussion about their family members. Amit asks Neil about his sister's well-being and Neil responds and inquired about Amit's wife. Amit asked about Neil's sister by asking, Bah, ar tomar bon kemon ache? The word, as we know now, bah, is an expression or appreciation or interest similar to wow or great. The word ar means and. It connects this question to the previous one about Neil's parents. Tomar means your, is possessive pronoun in polite way. Bon means sister. We know now that kamon is a question word, means how. Neil used ache here, the non-honorific form of the base verb. Now the question is, why did he use ache? Because Neil's sister is likely younger. So Amit uses the non-honorific verb form. If she were older than them, he would use the verb achen. Neil responds and asks about Amit's wife, whom he considers as his sister-in-law. Since Amit is like a brother to him, we have two sentences here. Let's go to them one by one. The first sentence is Sheo bhalo ache. She, as we know, means he or she in the informal way. The vowel O is attached with she. This adds emphasis meaning to or also. The adjective bhalo means good or well. Note that the non-honorific form of verb ache has been used because Neil is referring to his younger sister. Let's see how the honorific versus non-honorific forms looks like. In non-honorificity, the sentence is she bhalo ache. In honorificity, the sentence is Tini bhalo achen. Neil then asks about Amit's wife. Tomar stri kemon achen? The word stri is a kinship term meaning wife. The honorific verb form achen has been used here. Since Neil is referring to Amit's wife, who is an elder in age, he must use achen instead of ache. We'll see the next conversation. Amit says, Bhalo ache. Tomar kaj kemon? Amit says, She's better now. How is your work? Neil says, Bhalo. Apnar bari kothay? Neil says, Going good. Where are you staying? In this part of conversation, Amit and Neil continue discussing their personal lives. Amit first asks Neil about his work, and Neil responds before inquiring about Amit's residence. Amit asks about Neil's work. Bhalo ache. Tomar kaj kemon? The phrase bhalo ache means she is good, where we know that bhalo means good, whereas ache means is. This refers to Amit's wife, whom he mentioned earlier. If we could recall from previous lesson, the pronoun tomar is informal possessive pronoun, means your. Why tomar and not apnar is used? Since Amit and Neil are friends, Amit uses the informal pronoun tomar instead of the more formal apnar. We have also a new word, kaj, means work in English. Neil replies, Bhalo. Apnar bari kothay? Here is the structure that you learned in the first class. Apnar bari kothay, where apnar is the possessive pronoun for your in formal way. Neil uses a more respectful tone when referring to Amit's house by using apnar instead of tomar. The question follows a common Bangla sentence structure that we learned in the first. Possessive pronoun, then noun, then a question word. Apnar bari kothay? Then Amit says, Main Street er kache. Ekbar esho. Near the main street. Come over sometime. Neil says, Hai nishchoy. Neil says, Yes, of course. Now, let's analyze the final part of our conversation. In this section, Amit tells Neil where he lives and invites him over, and Neil responds positively. Amit replied, Main Streeter কাছে একবার এসো. Here, Amit is providing information about his location. The phrase Main Streeter কাছে means near the main street. The word kache means near, indicating proximity. This structure is frequently used in Bangla to express locations relative to a landmark. For example, bazarer kache, which means near the market, schooler pashe, which means beside the school. Now, Neil replied, হ্যাঁ অবশ্যই. Here, হ্যাঁ means yes, confirming the agreement. Nishchay means of course or definitely, reinforcing his willingness to accept the invitation. This part of conversation showcases imperatives and possessive forms, both essential for giving directions and inviting someone in Bangla. It also reflects how verb forms change based on social relationships like esho in informal way versus ashun in formal way. The table provides a structured way to understand how possessive pronouns are formed in Bangla. It shows how nominative pronouns change into possessive forms to indicate ownership. Each row in table responds to a specific person, number, and level of politeness in Bangla grammar. Let's break it down step by step. Uttam Purush, which is first person, singular. In nominative, it is ami. In possessive, it is amar. Uttam Purush, first person, plural. In nominative, it is amra. In possessive, it is amader. Next is Moddham Purush, which is second person, singular, non-honorific. In nominative, it is tui. And in possessive, it is tor. Moddham Purush, which is second person, plural, non-honorific, is tora in nominative, and in possessive, it is toder. Then, second person, singular, semi-honorific. In nominative, it is tumi, and in possessive, it is tomar. Then, second person, plural, semi-honorific, it is in nominative, tomra, and in possessive, tomader. Then second person singular honorific. In nominative, it is apni. In possessive, it is apnar. Moddham Purush, second person plural honorific. In nominative, it is apnara. In possessive, it is apnader. Next is Prothom Purush, which is third person. In nominative, it is tara. In possessive, it is tader. Third person, singular, honorific. In nominative, it is tini. In possessive, it is tar. Third person, plural, honorific. In nominative, it is tara. In possessive, it is tader. Let's discuss them. First person pronouns. Ami, as we know by now, that this first person pronoun meaning I. While making possessive form, Ami becomes Amar. That is, I becomes my. In singular, it is Amar. For example, Amar Bari, which means my house. In plural, it is Amader. For example, Amader Bari means our house. Next is second person pronouns. Tui is second person pronoun used in a very informal setting. Refer to the persons being spoken to. While making possessive form, tui becomes tor. In singular, it is tor. For example, tor bari means your house. In plural, it is toder. For example, toder bari means your house. Tumi is also second person pronoun used in a semi-formal setting. Refers to the person being spoken to. While making possessive form, tumi becomes tomar, like you becomes your. In singular, it is tomar. For example, tomar bari means your house. In plural, it is tomader. For example, tomader bari means your house. Apni is the second person pronoun used in a formal setting, refer to someone being spoken about. While making possessive form, apni becomes apnader. In singular, it is apnar. For example, apnar bari means your house. In plural, it is apnader is the plural form. Example, apnader bari means your house. The last is third person pronouns. The third person pronouns refer to someone being spoken about. She, while making possessive form, becomes tar or or. In singular, it is tar or or. Example, tar bari means his house or her house, or or bari, which also means his house or her house. In plural, it is tader or oder. Example, tader bari means their house, or oder bari, which also means their house. Tini is a third person singular pronoun used in an honorific way. While making possessive form, tini becomes tar. In singular, it is tar. Example, tar bari means his house or her house. In plural, it is tader. Example, tader bari means their house. Wonderful. Now keep on practicing these pronouns and their usage in sentences. We'll see you in the next class. Happy learning!